In a quiet stretch of the galaxy, far from the core worlds and bustling trade lanes, the stars held their breath. They glowed faintly, like distant candles flickering in the vast darkness of space. And in that hush, something happened. Something that would shift the balance of everything. The human scout ship Aurora 9 drifted slowly through the gloom, its systems scanning for gravitational anomalies and remnants of ancient technology. Its small crew, just 4, were explorers, scientists, and signal analysts, not soldiers. They were on a mission of curiosity and peace, but peace was not what found them. As the ship neared the edge of an unmarked system, Ensign Lisa, the youngest aboard, detected something strange. "A signal," she murmured. It was low and broken, repeating every 11 seconds. She leaned closer, fingers dancing across the console, trying to clear the noise. Maybe it was an old probe or debris echoing a forgotten frequency. But as she filtered the static, the shape of the signal changed. It wasn't just noise, it was a countdown. "Captain," she said, her voice going cold, "I think we're listening to a weapon charging." Captain Rowland stepped forward, narrowing, his eyes as the data took shape on the screen. The source was a barren moon, unlisted, uncharted. The signal spiked. The ship's AI spoke calmly, almost dispassionately. Massive energy buildup detected. Then it happened. A beam of white energy shot from the moon's surface, arcing silently through space. It struck a nearby asteroid, one the size of a small planet. The asteroid didn't break, it didn't shatter, it simply ceased to exist. Dust in seconds. The crew froze. They had just witnessed a weapon that violated the known rules of energy, of matter itself, a weapon that could erase planets. And worse, its targeting systems began to move, slowly, toward them. Captain Rowland made the fastest decision of his life. Full thrust, reverse, cloak systems active, no lights, no signals. We were never here. The Aurora 9 vanished into the dark, slipping past the moon's scanning net by a margin so thin it defied odds. But even as they fled, a burst transmission escaped, encrypted and laced in background radiation. A final desperate warning, to Earth, to any human ship nearby. That message only partially arrived. Beneath the Andes Mountains, in a military intelligence station carved from rock and steel, red lights began flashing. The broken transmission played on a loop. "They saw us. Moon is alive. Weapon, one shot, dust." Then, silence. The signal cut off mid-sentence. Earth Command tried to trace the source, to locate Aurora 9. But it was as if the ship had been swallowed by the void. Earth did not panic. Earth prepared. Within the hour, 12 long-range warships were redirected toward the silent system. The operation was named Stormfire. Top strategists, fleet admirals, and artificial minds were brought online. No other species in the galaxy knew, not yet. The Tempti, silent for over a century, had built something capable of annihilation. They had made one fatal mistake. They let humans see it, and Earth had a rule. If one of ours disappears without reason, we do not wait. We act. As the stars above remained still and silent, the human fleet moved, not with noise, not with threats, but with purpose and fury. The Tempti had shown their hand. Now humanity would respond. Far from Earth, in the forgotten corners of the Galactic Union, rumors stirred. Around a star system that wasn't listed on any chart, a silence spread, unnatural, unsettling. And in that creeping quiet, a name began to echo. At first whispered, then louder: humans. To many alien species, humans remained a riddle, emotional, reckless, unpredictable, a death world race that shouldn't have survived. And yet, here they were. when Aurora 9's garbled warning was intercepted not just by Earth but by scattered alien listening posts, the galaxy began to murmur. What had humans seen? And what would they do next? On a trade station orbiting the neutral moon of Zeros, a group of alien information brokers gathered. They played the transmission again. Moon is alive, weapon, dust, targeting us. Run! The three-eyed broker Farnix turned to the others. If the humans saw this, he whispered, then the Tempti have broken the void accord. A second voice, dry and metallic, responded, if humans were attacked first, they won't talk. They'll retaliate. Soon, hidden comms lit up across the stars. Messages leapt between systems, passed through smugglers and shadow networks. A phrase repeated, more warning than rumor. The humans are moving. Their fleets are waking. On Earth, the Stormfire Protocol had gone live. Under the frozen command base in Siberia, Grand Admiral Reyna Sol stood before a glowing star map. Her hands were clasped behind her back. Her voice was like ice. Behind her, officers stood at attention as red ship markers lit up the display. Dreadnoughts, cruisers, stealth corvettes, and Black Ops destroyers, all rerouted to a single point in the galaxy. The last known coordinates of Aurora, 9th, Admiral Sol turned slowly. 4 humans, 1 scout ship. That's all it took. She met their eyes. The Tempti have shown us their worst secret, and that's all we needed to see. A young officer, voice uncertain, raised a question. But ma'am, the Tempti haven't struck us directly since the border wars. Could this be a misinterpret? She raised a hand. He stopped. They fired a planet-killer weapon, she said. No warning, no explanation, no negotiation. If not for Ensign Lisa's signal, we'd still be blind. She faced them fully. We do not wait. We do not ask for permission. The galaxy laughed at us once. Let's see them laugh now. No one argued. No one spoke. Meanwhile, far across the stars on the planet Vakarn, the Tempti High Council met. Buried deep beneath the crust, they sat cloaked in shadow, their pride thicker than stone. The weapon, the Sunlands, had been meant as a show of power, a deterrent, not a first strike, but the humans had seen. Worse, they had survived. War Leader Saramac clicked her claws together, a low hiss escaping her throat. They were supposed to run, to hide, to spread fear, not come back. A nervous general leaned forward. Do we know how many ships? Saramac looked up, voice grim. Too many. Because the truth was this. Humans never brought only one answer. They came with emotion and reason, with peace or war. And the galaxy was learning, slowly, painfully, that humans could forgive much, but never a threat to their own. In the deep, dark reaches of the Varn system, the first human scouts arrived, silent, invisible. They scanned every moon, every asteroid, every transmission. Each report echoed the same truth. The system was silent, too silent. A message was sent to Admiral Sol. Tempti fleet massing in inner orbit, weapons charging, civilian activity, 0. Her reply was just one line. Then let's show them how humans walk into traps. The Tempti believed they were ready. Their warships loomed behind cloaking armor that shimmered with a deep violet hue. Orbital defense grids hung above the only habitable planet in the Vakarn system, locked in place, while their dreaded sun cannon, the same weapon that had obliterated Aurora 9, glowed with lethal power. It was charging again, this time with enough energy to vaporize a planet's core. Tempti commanders were united in thought. No one would dare trespass again, not after Aurora 9. But they had made an ancient miscalculation. They mistook human kindness for weakness, mistook our smiles, our offers of peace, our diplomacy, for fear. They assumed we would retreat, maybe appeal to the Galactic Union. But instead of warnings or peace envoys, their sensors detected something else, something that made their control centers fall deathly quiet. A human fleet had arrived, and it wasn't small. It moved like one. Entity, cold, deliberate, and vast, expanding like a hand closing over the system. No message, no threat, no ultimatum. Just motion. And in the void of space, silence can speak louder than any scream. Grand Admiral Rhea Saul stood on the bridge of the dreadnought Iron Will, her gaze locked on the panoramic display as her fleet reached final formation. She'd read the intel, nearly 100 Tempty warships, defense grids online, and the Sunlance preparing to fire again. But she wasn't afraid. This battle had ended the moment they killed the crew of Aurora 9. Mercy had died with them. Behind her, Captain. Lauren stepped forward, voice crisp and steady. Admiral, final positions confirmed. Battle groups A through E are in range. Do we begin the strike? She gave one nod. Release the silence. In under 3 seconds, over 200 missiles launched, silent ghosts cutting through space. Behind them, railgun slugs flew faster than any Tempty weapon could track. These weren't conventional munitions. These were surgical instruments of war, guided by thousands of synchronized AIs. Many carried no explosives at all, only blinding signal bursts and jammers that stabbed through the enemy's command net like invisible daggers, severing their eyes and ears. Panicked, the Tempty retaliated, wild plasma bolts and kinetic rounds flung blindly into the void. They missed, again and again. Their sensors were dark, their radar filled with static. They had never faced an enemy who didn't announce their presence, who didn't fight with noise or theatrics, who left no trail. Humans fought with silence, with precision, with terror. On one Tempty command deck, an officer screamed, "Where are they? Where are they?" No one answered. Stealth corvettes had already infiltrated the interior defenses, striking supply barges and fuel lines from behind. Whenever the Tempty repositioned, another human wing hit them from a different angle. In minutes, their formations crumbled. On the colony moon, panic spread. The Sunlance reached critical charge, glowing like a false sun, but now they had no target. Their aim was blind, their sky full of phantom echoes, and worse, every emergency frequency began playing a single human transmission. You were given a choice. You chose extinction. That was all it said. Then the Iron Will decloaked, fully visible now, hovering before the Tempty capital ship. On the bridge, Rhea Saul stared forward, as if she could look through light years and into the souls of those who had mocked humanity. She whispered one word: fire. The first blast from Iron Will's main cannon cut through the Tempty flagship's shields like air, a white-hot burst that vaporized half the superstructure. The second shot struck the Sunlance directly in its core, the weapon meant to burn worlds. Exploded inward in a wave of searing light, an inferno of silence. And then, everything stopped. The skies above Vakarn went still. No human ships lost. No lives sacrificed. The Tempty fleet, gone. Brutal, one-sided, cold, earned. Smoke drifted in. Slow ribbons over the colony moon's defense towers, now broken husks. Scorched launch bays glowed with residual heat. No human soldier had stepped on the surface yet. They didn't need to. Their message had already been delivered. Not in words, not in threats, but in the fires that still burned along the skeletal. Remains of every command station, hangar, and silo. For the first time in their history, the Tempty Empire had been defeated. Not by numbers, not by luck, not even by superior technology, but by something far worse, a force that fought with ice in its veins, with perfect coordination, and with a terrifying absence of mercy. The humans had come, not to negotiate, not to warn, not even to punish, but to fulfill a promise. Extinction. Above the scorched moon, the iron will floated in low orbit, an executioner watching its verdict play out. Grand Admiral Saul stood on the observation deck, hands clasped behind her back, her eyes reflecting the red glow of the Capitol dome, now a crumbling ruin. She didn't speak. She didn't have to. Her silence said everything. Beside her, Captain Lauren approached quietly, datapad in hand. His voice was calm, controlled. "Admiral, all enemy fleet assets have been neutralized. Ground forces report no resistance. Civilian." The end. The galaxy didn't fear humanity because they were violent. They feared humanity because they had mastered silence. They didn't threaten. They acted. They didn't invade. They erased. They didn't speak twice. That truth echoed in every corner of the stars. In the drift mines of Zalketh, in the sky cities of the Lyran Ascendancy, in the encrypted sermons of the cult of motionless night, all now ended every warning the same way. If you see them, if you hear them, it's already too late. Humanity hadn't conquered the galaxy through war. They had simply taught it what happened when the galaxy forgot who they were. And so the stars stayed quiet, and the silence stayed human.